Welcome back, everybody. Our first guest tonight, it's our former writers at Saturday Night Live, as well as one of the stars and the writer of All In Comedy About Love, which is playing now at the Hudson Theater on Broadway. Please welcome back to the show two of my very good friends, John Mulaney and Simon Rich, everybody. Nice to see you together again. This is how I often saw you when we were all working together at SNL. You were immediate collaborators.
That's right. We met in 2008. You were 22?
I think so.
And I was 25, and you were our boss.
Yeah.
And yeah, we immediately collaborated, wrote so many brilliant things that you cut viciously each week.
United by the collective trauma of working for you.
Yeah.
I had big plans for your futures, and I'm glad you finally reached them. Well, I can't be the nice guy, because that's Lorne, you know?
Of course, no.
Lorne was the guy who was always like, go easy on him.
Yeah, very good cop, bad cop.
You very, very much called the shots, and you were very much in control of the material that got on. But we didn't kowtow, you know, we weren't like corporate. That's not a knock on you, but you were interested in the advertisers, and we weren't going to write.
You would say, if Pepsi finds out about this, we're dead.
Always.
Big Pharma's watching, and we'd be like, oh, that's weird because we're artists. So, like, you know, that's not what we're about.
I remember that was, if there was a catchphrase I had with you guys, I would shake your scripts and be like, do you think Big Pharma thinks this is funny?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first thing you guys wrote together?
Yeah.
It was the first hour that we met, because I was introduced to him through a DVD, this is how long ago it was, that you handed me, and you said, here's the new writer we hired. And it was 5 minutes of you doing stand-up. And like anybody else who's ever watched John do stand-up, it took less than 5 minutes for me to realize how brilliant he was. And
nice.
Couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for the chance to collaborate with you. And so
I'd read his book, Ant Farm, too. So the moment we met, we were already like very big admirers of each other.
And we immediately began writing a failed sketch together.
Yeah.
What was the first failed one?
It was called Cash for Silver.
Yep.
Do you remember those Cash for Gold ads?
Yeah.
This was, if you don't remember them, it was just, they were like just trying to buy everyone's gold. This was, Bill in a tight shot is asking for your silver. Please send silver, we'll send you cash. People are like, what about silver utensils? Yes. What about silver picture frames? Yes.
And he's increasingly, he's very insistent and frantic, and you gradually realize why. It's because he and his family are marooned on Werewolf Island.
And they need to make silver bullets by a certain date.
By the full moon.
Oh, the full moon.
By a certain date.
There was a deadline. That's good. It had everything. There was a ticking clock, and
There was also, I will admit, this is not from memory. I did reread it. No, you were coming. It's really funny because there's a lot of questions. It's like back and forth, I think, with them and Keenan. Keenan's like, how will you get the money? And he's like, there's a man here who made a deal. He works with the werewolves.
There's a boatman, right, who made peace with the werewolves.
Yes.
They let him come and go, and they don't eat him, kill him.
Yeah. We knew that viewers would be, if we left a plot hole in there, that viewers would be aghast.
You never, I say, and you also collaborated with Merica Sawyer, and the three of you did not have many plot holes. I feel like you were very good at making sure
These were tightly wound Swiss watches that were cut constantly from the show.
Well, now,
almost on the regular, it was almost a tradition to cut our thing. That everyone looked on it with great admiration and then absolutely cut it from the show.
We all stood up and were like, no plot holes though.
Perfectly
Switcheroo
executed.
is no plot holes.
Right?
Nope.
And Switcheroo is a sketch that no host was ever interested in doing.
Not at all, and nor, I should say, did the read-through table like it. So Switcheroo was written in 2009. It was about a sitcom where the father and son have switched bodies, a la Like Father, Like Son, Dudley Moore, Kirk Cameron.
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday, vice versa, Judge Reinhold, Fred Savage. And no other examples.
I like, by the way, that Simon did the one everybody knows, Freaky Friday, and then you did the two super deep cuts.
I've never seen Freaky Friday,
but you like know the idea.
Sure, but I think it's important to name all three.
And on a pure integrity level, you only mention movies
Again,
you've seen.
no holes.
No holes.
So, Switcheroo was a sitcom where that has happened. That is what has happened, but it mainly follows the psychosexual.
It has the theme song is son goes to work,
Dad
goes to school, and the son has sex with the mom.
What you gonna do?
What they gonna do? It's a switcheroo. A rhyme at the end.
Rhyming at the end.
Yeah, because like how songs rhyme.
100%.
I like that you thought the problem might be if it didn't rhyme.
Yeah.
That's why Lauren didn't pick it. We blew the rhyme. But you did this when you came back and hosted.
Well, then I hosted, and I called Simon and said, they're going to let me host SNL, and before
you'd finish the sentence, I said, we're resubmitting Switcheroo.
But I want to be clear, it wasn't like this, more cowbell thing where everyone loved it and everyone wanted it on the show. Like, people didn't like Switcheroo at all.
No.
Because it's a really, again, no plot holes, so it's a really, detailed examination of the sexual dynamics of a full parent-child switcheroo.
And the original draft was about 30 pages long.
Yeah.
So we got into it.
Super long. But it aired.
It did. It was wonderful. Tourism ad. Tourism ad. When you pick up a sketch,
is that what it's
and
called?
It says tour. It is called tourism ad. So you pick up a sketch, you're like, tourism ad. What would this be about? And you guys kind of buried the lead. What tourism ad was about?
Yeah. Tourism ad was a great thing called a runner. That's where you do. In one episode of SNL, you'd have 3 short sketches.
Because the first one is so hilarious that audiences are just excited to see more of it.
MacGruber is a perfect example of a runner. And it gets funnier 100%. With each one, and it builds.
This runner was called Tourism Ads. The first tourism ad is Keenan, straight to camera, going, "Hello, I'm Julius. Are you looking for a vacation timeshare that's affordable? I have hundreds of acres of land. Beautiful tropic climate here in North Guyana." Because we have practically brand new cabins.
Yeah. Large metal vats.
Large metal Kool-Aid vats for group drink. And then he sighs and he goes, by now you know that this is Jonestown. Site of the People's Temple Massacre in 1978. And that's it. He's trying to sell Jonestown.
But that's the first one, and it went about like it went now.
No, it did better here.
It did better here.
Than it did on Saturday Night Live, yeah. Because we have some goodwill, and, we ramped in by being like, oh, we're great writers, and this is good.
But this is the one that you actually kept this as a souvenir.
That's right, yeah. My only memorabilia that I kept from the show is this cue card.
This is a cue card of the line you just said. And
which I framed. Yeah.
And is it just to remind you? It's just to remind you of how bad things can go?
That's exactly right. I keep it as a reminder that creatively it could always be worse. I could be sitting with John next to Lorne Michaels as this Jonestown joke lands or does not land.
Does not land.
And
then knowing that you're going to come down 2 more times.
Yeah.
So it's 3x Lorne.
Yeah.
What's a good, under the bleachers Lorne thing to let you know how little he likes it?
Okay, so we wrote a sketch called Noodles the Dog. And it's these parents sit down their kid, and it's that thing of they have to tell them that the dog died. So they're like, Noodles went to live on a farm. But the kids are savvy, and they're like, wait a minute, I can't remember why they pick it. They pick apart each lie.
He has allergies. He
has allergies. He'd never be on a farm, and finally, they confess that Noodles the dog is dead, and that he died autoerotically asphyxiating himself.
And then they explain.
He was tightening his collar and licking himself, and
which the children instantly accept.
Yeah. They go, it's called edge play, and they know
They know
what it is
somehow,
and stuff, and they're kind of like, that's like how he went, and we have respect for that, And anyway, that aired on TV, right? And afterwards, Lorne looked at us and said, "I hope you're proud of yourselves." That just went out to all 50 states.
50. He wanted you to like just really have it resonate.
Yeah, all 50 states just saw that.
I want to talk about your wonderful Broadway show. We're going to be right back with John and Simon after this.